Yeah, obviously, huge game. Obviously, always tough loss. Game about how we thought. We knew it'd be a knockdown, drag out. We talked about it a few weeks ago. We got a four game stretch at home against Western, who is clearly one of the top teams in the league at 4-1. On the road on Tuesday at OU, which will be a huge game. Home against Toledo, who's probably, I don't know, they've played the most dominant football in this league. Their statistics are overwhelming. If you look at yards gained, yards given up in league play, their statistics don't look like anybody else's. They obviously lost a knockdown drag out to Western, and then they killed Bowling Green but didn't win the game. They dominated the game. So if you watch that game, there's not like, well, it was just one of those days that a lot of things didn't go their way, and they lost a tough game. And then you're at the road at Buffalo, at the road at OU, at the road at Buffalo. So we've talked about this, like, hey, you've got this 4-week run here, and I don't know how much gas we're going to have left at the end of the day, but I don't know if we can survive it. I don't know if we can, but it's going to be 4 weeks of, MAC championship game, MAC championship game, MAC championship game, MAC championship game, and just how the schedule played out. Obviously, the Western was exactly that, knockdown, drag out. We found a way to win it. Obviously, OU, we didn't win it. They outplayed us in the last 5 minutes. We had a lead with 5 minutes to go. We had a lead with 2 minutes and 40 seconds. We got them third 14. We get a face mask penalty, gives them an extra chance, and they made the last play. And it was disappointing. But our kids played really hard. They fought really hard. We came back twice in the fourth quarter to take leads. There's plenty of things that we need to do better. We didn't, as we talk about post game, we didn't handle the situation as good as we have. We've done a good job going into OU. I think we'd won back-to-back games there. No, we'd won 2 of the last 3 there. So we won in 19, lost in 21, won in 23. But we know the environment there, and you're going to be yelled at, you're going to be cussed at, you're going to be like, it's nonstop from the time you get there to the time you leave. And they want to be part of the game. And that's what a great home crowd does. And we had some young guys that bought into the verbal back and forth, which, when you're got to focus on what you're doing, and we made some mistakes because of it. So that's what I'm disappointed. I didn't have our kids as ready as we normally do to go in that environment, because we know, like, you're walking the field the hour before and there's people swearing at you. It's just the way it is, and like, you got to handle it. It's like, it's to each his own. That's their right. They're trying to get underneath your skin. As I told our players, no, I got yelled at more than me. I get yelled at the whole game. But again, they want a reaction, and too many of our younger kids got caught up in all the bantering, but overall, it's just, again, it was a knockdown, drag out. Proud of how we competed on the road, how we fought, how we stayed together, how we were down, we came back, we give up a big kickoff return, we come right back, score again, we complete the ball on 4th down, huge play DQ to Cam, and position to win it. We get the stop after that, and we don't get the first down offensively. We get a holding penalty, which put us way behind the change, which was very costly, and then we get a face mask penalty, so tough situations. Both of those. So, but moving forward, now you got Toledo, so no one really, that you beat Western 2 weeks ago or lost, it's going to be the same type deal. Like, they're coming in here, and both of our backs are against the wall. Both of us have to win this game. They're playing really good football. Anybody watched the game last night? They're very talented defensively. Again, not giving up any yards or any first downs and to anyone. They beat a very good Western Kentucky team, 49-7. West Kentucky's like 7-2. So, a huge game. We got them at home, which obviously it's nice to be at home. We could definitely use everybody that cares about Miami football 1 iota to be out there and be loud, and it's huge advantage. Why we have a great home record is a lot of the support we get. So, but this is week 3, and then we'll worry about Buffalo after that, going to Buffalo. So, like I told our kids, you somehow find a way to get through this and survive this in good fashion, it would be probably the best accomplishment I have here in 12 years, because in 12 years, we've never had to have a run like this where you play the top 4 teams in the league, 2 at home, 2 on the road, with no rest in between, back to back to back to back. So far we're 1-1. We got to find a way to get to 2-1. Toledo's got to find a way to win this one too, and it should be again, if you like MAC football, this is another heavyweight matchup, and should be a great one.
Kind of the storyline of the season is taking that first half, kind of taking it slow, then improving in the second half. Can you talk about what that looked like against OU?
Yeah, well, one, you play OU, and even us, we don't play two methodical teams. Well, there's 4 possessions in the first half. We had one really nice drive, and we didn't punch it in, and then we took a penalty on, 4th down. We had one more chance to punch it in, but the other 3 drives, we had third and more than manageable. We had 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, and we don't execute on 3rd down, and those, and then the half's over. So it's like, well, you're not going to get many opportunities against OU. It's a 9-possession game. It ends up being 24-20. If you just have a normal 12-possession game, it's 32-28. If you're a go-fast team and you have 14, 15 possessions, the game's 40-38 without anything different. So when you play them, you're not going to have a lot of possessions. You have to, and they're not going to have a lot of possessions either. So it's going to be that type of game. Second half, we obviously executed better, but when we completed some 3rd downs, we completed a big 4th down. Offensively, first half we were fine except for 3rd down execution, and we should have had opportunities on those. I'm not saying we should have, but we had opportunities to move the chains, and we didn't. And then next thing you know, we go on a 13-play 9-minute drive, and the half's over. So, but again, we've got to execute better in the first half. That's the theme you're talking about. As the game goes on, we execute better and better, which is good, and we make some adjustments, which is good, but we've got to score more points. Obviously, our second half production's been really good all year, so we got to execute better in the first half.
And then can you talk about that kickoff return in the second half, and what do special teams need to do to tighten up plays like that?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. We have unblocked guys like our maybe one of our top football players, Corbin Hondru's on block, and he slips on the play, and then we had some other guys not read the return. They faked the reverse and didn't read the return right, didn't cross face, and so we just got to play. We got to play better. We're going to work on it hard this week. Obviously, Toledo started their game off with a kickoff return for a touchdown last night, and they've always been. They seem like at least one a year since I've been here, Toledo gets a kickoff. I don't know how many they've had, but they've had a ton of home runs on KOR. So they're going to be, based on the last 2 weeks, they're going to be licking their chops. So we're going to work really hard on it this week, and we're going to keep looking at what we're doing and keep looking at who we're doing it with, and have the best scheme and the best players possible to be out there and find a way to. Obviously, we got to get better at that. There's no doubt about that.
On one hand, you should have some familiarity with Toledo from playing them, over the last couple of years and that. On the other hand, you've got a lot of new people that came into the program this year. How much you think that familiarity factor might be at play? Is it more helpful for the coaches than the players, or what?
Yeah, just like we talked about last week with the TV guys, like how much does losing the MAC championship game fuel your players? I said, well, I got 40 guys that weren't even at the MAC championship game, and I got, I don't have any starters on offense that played in the game. So I wish it burned like it burned in my belly, because it's stuck in my craw. I'm not sure if you weren't in the trend. You know what I mean? So same thing with Toledo, like you said, good point. Like familiar for coaches, definitely. Familiar for players, there's not. It's just a new week for them. They don't have, none of my offense guys besides DeQuan knows anything about what they do on defense. Obviously, DeQuan has a ton of familiarity with some of the stuff they do, but no one else, we played them 3 times last year and a half. None of those guys played in a game, So definitely helps. Definitely more for the coaches and for the players. It's just a new week for them and a new team.
When you played Ohio, you're playing a team with obviously Navarro stirs the whole thing. He's got the versatility to be able to throw, to be able to run the ball, extend plays, and that, and Bangura. Is it going to be much different going into play a team like Toledo, who can really throw the ball around, is very physically talented, or is it going to be some similarities?
Yeah, no. The challenge is the similarity. Like, the challenge is really hard for our defense. The style is not. OU runs a much different offense than Toledo and has a different style quarterback. Their quarterback, I don't know what he was last night. He hardly threw an incompletion and threw for 300 yards and a bunch of. So different style of quarterback, but challenging nonetheless, just based on ability and and then just what Toledo does structurally is different than what OU does structurally. But again, they're really good at what they do, and they stress you a lot of different ways. Obviously, the Vanderos kid's been one of the best players in our league for a while. The Trainham kid, the transfer tailback from Kentucky, is and they've got other guys too. It's not just they've got talented skill guys, talented running backs, like you said, physical up front. So challenge is the same. It's going to be a huge challenge for our defense. One of the things I'm most proud of last game is how we defended OU's quarterback and receiver, Navarro and Hendricks. We defended them as well as anybody's defended them all year, including a couple Big Ten teams, or couple Power 5 teams. And just our guys did, if you'd have told me going the game we're going to defend Navarro and Hendricks that well, I'd say we're going to win the game. And again, we're in position to win the game. We just didn't finish it out. But I was very proud of our defense, and they've got another huge task ahead of them with different style tasks, but another huge task with talented players.
At the beginning of the year, the secondary, a lot of questions there with so many new people and, some younger people and everything. I feel like they've, especially, with last night, that they've come along, and this is going to be one more test for them.
Yeah, huge test because, again, Toledo throws it better than anybody we've seen. By far since Rutgers. Rutgers could throw it around pretty good, but no one, and UNLV could throw it around pretty good too. But we haven't seen a pass offense once we've hit the league play even close to what Toledo throws at you, throwing the ball year in, year out. Our secondary has come a long way. We're definitely still a work in progress. We are still really young. We did a lot of good things last week, but there's a lot of plays that we can improve on. And I know our kids, again, they're rapidly improving and competing, and we're just way different than we were early in the year, but we still have a ways to go, and they've got a huge test this weekend. So, but yeah, we've come a long way there, definitely.
Coach, we talked last week about making sure you guys were locked in, just coming off that 5-game win streak. Is there a different challenge now when you're coming off a hard loss, like getting everybody to lock back in?
Yeah, no, it was tough, and again, we've lost before this year, but not in a game of that magnitude. That game, our kids were super excited to play in that game and really prepared tremendously for that game. Our kids practiced great. They were locked in. We had a great trip, and then they competed their hearts out. And you look up at the end, and they make a play, with less than a minute to go to beat you, and you lose a big game. It's hard. And again, we didn't react to it great post game, but like I said, the pro and the con is like, it really hurts, and it better really hurt. It really did hurt. And we had some kids very frustrated and upset and down and out, and I didn't do this, and I didn't do this, or I could have done this, or we should have done that, and we had a good yesterday. We got back to we got a bunch of new young guys that was maybe their first taste of a big game defeat. Not, we had a gut-wrenching defeat against UNLV, but it was non-league, It was like, it hurt really bad, but tough loss, obviously. But this different magnitude. You're in league and you're at OU. You're at your rival. It's a huge stinking game in the conference standings, and you have a lead with, less than 2 minutes to go, and you don't win it. So, but that's life, and that's how you learn how to handle those things. It's all part of life, and how to not care is not how to handle it. To care a lot and show your frustration is not how, you have to somehow be a professional, be a grown-up, and handle, and then you got to move on quickly, because again, Toledo's coming off a laugher against Northern Illinois, and the week before they played Washington State. It was a non-league game. The week before they had another laugher, so they're not coming, even just getting our kids readily mentally Western and physically Western OU, that was a knockdown. Now you got to come back and play your rival after just a knockdown, drag out emotionally and physically. Now you've had back-to-back emotionally and physical games. You got a third one, but we love it. That's the challenge. This is what life is like. When in life are you going to get this? I've coached a lot of years. I've never been through a schedule window like this. I can't remember. I'm like, when's the last time I had 4 straight? thinking back to Notre Dame, they like in league, like never in my life. I can go back to Milliken Whitmer. Like there's never a time where I had 4 in league games of this magnitude back to back to back at the end of the season with conference implications on the line for both teams in every game. It's not just us. It's a big game for the other team. So this is as big a challenge. I told him, I said, this will be the biggest challenge you ever have in the game of sports, and we're halfway into it. You know, we got another 2-week run, and so this is why you come to Miami. This is why you do what you do, to see how you talk about. Oh, we're mentally tough. We'll see how mentally tough we are. This is week 3 of back-to-back Super Bowls.
And then can you just talk a little bit about the jersey and just that you'll be wearing on Wednesday, but and just what they stand for?
Yeah, one, like, personally couldn't care less about a jersey. All right, that's my whole life. But certainly care about the Cradle coaches. Like really, 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 one of the reasons I came here 12 years ago, so I could be a small part of the Cradle coach. Like, you coach at Miami is a pretty special. Like, if you like football history, which I love, like you go back, like everybody talks about Bo Woody and Eric, just go back to Red Blake and what Red Blake did. He did an Army, not at Ohio State or Michigan or Notre Dame, so it's a little less profile, but like, and everyone, there's so many. I mean, and then all the assistant coaches and all the, to McVay and Harbaugh and Sean Payton and all the NFL assistants, and like Shula's gonna be the next one with the job, right? And they got the best defense in the league and one of the lowest payrolls on defense, and look what he's doing. Like so just being a part of it, and then just the great idea to have a jersey to like commemorate, like, hey, this is gonna be the Cradle coaches game. Like we're gonna honor. And again, it's not what made the Cradle coaches, the Cradle players, right? So every player that played at Miami since Miami started playing football is a part of this jersey. Like the only reason Red Blake and Bo and Era, and like, because they had great players here, and they were great coaches. Don't get me wrong, because they kept doing it at the highest level, but they had great players at Miami, and those great players helped those coaches become legends. That's, what's the Cradle coaches? Well, you don't have the Cradle coach without every single person that ever put on a jersey here in blood, sweat, and tears. So we're celebrating all that through this jersey. So it's pretty special and pretty awesome. And we're the only school that talk about the Cradle coaches. It's Miami, Ohio.